Hey, you! You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed because you're an untouchable success. To support us and gain access to great exclusive shows like our brand new Supernatural watch-along Himboos, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You'll also get your lucky little mitts on hundreds of episodes of our other exclusive shows like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, and the complete series of Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We do movie nights, game streaming, regular mini-series and surprise shows, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want, within reason. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain by heading to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed. Probably don't need help with that word.
Meatballs are gonna get you.
Gonna get you.
Or are they? Hi, everybody.
Meatballs! They look like little beholders. Hello, everyone.
No meatballs here. My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Timekeepers of Eternity, a adaptation made of paper of an adaptation of a book made of paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
The circle of
nature,
life.
It's
right.
It's like a cycle, man.
From paper and then to paper from whence it came.
Mm-hmm.
The Langoliers were little creatures that lived in closets and sewers and other dark places.
Like elves?
No! No, not like elves. Nothing quite so pleasant, I'm afraid. He said that all they really were was hair and teeth and fast little legs. And oh, those little legs had to be fast so that they could catch up with all the bad little boys no matter how quickly they scampered.
Stop it. You're scaring her.
No, he's not.
I think what Laurel means is that I'm scaring her.
So before we get started, we're going to explain what this is.
All of us are just secondhand copies of the Hunger Games.
A big thank you to Dr. Slaphammer, our
Thank you.
Patreon producer, who had us watch this movie called The Timekeepers of Eternity.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is available online. If people are curious what this is, we should probably explain. This is an art house and a short artsy film that uses the footage from the TV movie The Langoliers.
It's a recut of the Langoliers.
Yeah, but this was in festivals and stuff. Like, this isn't like a fan recut, I guess.
No,
I mean,
it's
nothing against fan recuts, but this is like
it's much more involved than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, they printed it out page by page on a black and white printer, the frames from the Langoliers, and animated it with a lot of like different tear effects. Very Don Hertzfeldt.
Don Hertzfeldt, yeah. It's Don Hertzfeldt's The Langoliers. You could also call this movie Perfect Strangers, I realized.
I know!
You could call The Langoliers Perfect Strangers as well.
I wrote that down at one point because I was like, oh, they're like perfect strangers, aren't they? Yeah. So I guess we have multiple things to talk about here.
That joke struck our younger listeners right in the face. They can't breathe. They're laughing so hard.
There's layers here.
Yeah.
Because we have the Langoliers.
Like millions of printed frames from Stephen King's The Langoliers.
Yeah. This has also been cut down from a 3-hour miniseries to a single hour.
Yeah.
And let me just start by saying, you don't notice.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just say, I liked this. I liked this adaptation.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. I didn't like the ending. I thought he should have kept the ending.
Okay, so this was another thing I need to talk to you about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the I remember the meatballs. I remember Belky from Perfect Strangers ripping up paper.
I only saw the meatballs.
Yeah, I only saw it as a kid. So I there's like certain aspects of this that was like, I don't I almost wish I had watched the miniseries before watching this, and I never read the book or the short story, whatever the fuck this was based
It's a
off
novella.
of.
It was in one of them there, like 4 seasons or something like that.
So how familiar are you?
Well, what happens is they like depressurize the cabin. They like lower the oxygen in the cabin to put everybody to sleep, but somebody still has to stay awake to fly the plane. So that's what happens to David Morse. I think it's. Well, I mean, it's clearly David Morse in the footage that is used here. So I assume it's David Morse, the pilot in the original.
I love a good David Morse.
I kept conflating him and the British guy in my memory because they're basically the same character.
I love the Australian or I guess he's British. I love that there's a surly guy to keep fucking perfect strangers in check.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Kicking Balky.
Yeah, that's what he's there for.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Balky's killing it. What a performance.
I also oh my god, he's amazing. I want to talk about him because this is such a better version, I think, than the miniseries for a couple very key reasons. Mm-hmm. One being that you don't need 3 hours to tell the story because
there's a reason it was in a novella.
Yeah, and because his character is at an 11 at the start of the movie and the end, so you don't need 3 hours to establish how he's lost his mind. He's crazy right away. There's also the acting in this is so over the top.
It's melodrama.
That it works for like Lynchian style filmmaking.
The 2 words I just wrote down to make sure I got that point stayed in my head. I wrote down Lynch melodrama. This is Lynch as hell, and it works so well. It heightens the creepiness of Stephen King's story because the premise of the Langoliers is really fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And the miniseries is corny and bad.
Right, because it's like there's this. I think it helps to watch these as a kid. Like the It miniseries creeped me out as a kid.
Oh yeah,
and I realized that part of that is me as a kid doing the work for them.
Your mind's filling in the blanks. Yeah,
yeah, because Stephen King always he deals with these cosmic intangible things, and then in the '90s they adapted them all to cheesy ass miniseries with absolutely no flavor to the filmmaking.
Right, it's the fucking most flaccid filmmaking, and as I recall for the Langoliers, some of the worst digital effects. This is 90s basic, not even basic cable. This is network TV CGI, which was like, I mean, now television CGI can look like a movie, like Game of Thrones or whatever. But back then, man, it was like that. It was like, you take the worst CGI you ever seen in a movie in 1997, and then like the Langoliers is 10 grades below that because that's the reality of television budgets in the 90s.
Yeah, the Langoliers is famous for having the worst CGI depictions of the Langoliers themselves as these weird whirring meatballs, which I assumed in the book they were more intangible. They were hard to visualize.
He describes them the exact way Bronson Pinchot describes them when he's explaining. It's just a blur. They're like Tasmanian devils. As I recall, I read the story, but it's been like 20 years. But as I recall, it's just like, it's similar to It, where it's just like, it's impressions. It's like a blur of teeth and little legs.
It's vibes.
Yeah.
It's hard to visualize. Yeah. And they did this across the board. That's why Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is one of the most successful adaptations, because one, he shortened it all. He threw out a lot of the stuff that was like he kept, like, he was so vibey, like things like the music and the feel of it, and knowing not to like, not to fully.
No, I don't mean to interrupt
The Shining.
You. Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt you, but just Kubrick. Something I noticed rewatching it after becoming more familiar with the book is that he still puts a lot of that story in little images.
Oh yeah,
like it's. But anyway, it's
he knew what to kind of tweak.
Yeah, what needed to kind of go for what the story he was trying to tell. And I was just wanted to point out that even though it's famously. Not faithful to the source material, really, or that it digresses from the source material. He does keep a lot of the stuff in there. It's just like really condensed into little images,
Right.
particularly toward the end when like Wendy's running through and it's just like a carnival of madness.
Right. Like, for example, in the Kubrick Shining, like, the book is madness, right? It's about Jack descending into madness because this house. So the book also has hedge animals that come alive, which would look like garbage if you tried to do it in the 70s or in the TV movie. Hedge animals coming alive, unless you don't show them moving, is a very, like, it's cool in the book. It's actually one of my favorite parts in the book. But in a movie, you can see that kind of falling apart. So what do? You do a hedge maze to show the madness. A maze like showing someone lost in their mind. Have Jack be staring at it and zoning out. Like, it's things like that where it's like you're adapting the
It's an adaptation,
flavor of the book. Yeah.
You're getting like that's the same gist, the vibe, the thrust of it, the vibe of it, like you were saying, but you're like, let's tweak it to our purposes because, like you said, it's like not the reason they didn't put Wolverine in his yellow costume in the first X-Men movies. Maybe this might be a bit silly for people.
Right.
I feel like
And
the
there's
hedge
art to
animals
it.
are going to look dumb. We can get kind of
It's
the
not-
same idea. It's still like I forgot the word for it, but it's still like a nice topiary. You know, it's still a
Right.
piece of landscaping, but we can keep the idea of having creepy hedges, but at the same time, they can become another representation of Jack's madness, like the house. Oh, it's
Yeah.
you can see somebody starting to get excited about it, adapting that, and
Right.
Anyway.
And then you see like the TV movie versions of The Shining or It or whatever, where it's like, it's just very straightforward. It's like, how are we going to shoot this? You know, like a TV show, like
Yeah.
any TV show.
like a TV show. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's all to say the Langoliers, which is about, like you said, a really cool premise, which is like time travel can't really exist because time doesn't exist, which is that's a common theory, which is like, you can't go back in time. There's no time. There's only right now. This is like an extension of that idea, which is like these people are out of time. And all that means is that everybody else has moved from that moment and they're like stuck in this like past that doesn't really exist where everything's muted.
Like an empty movie set. Yeah, like there's no
Yeah.
sound. Everything, nothing has flavor.
Yeah, and it's just awaiting demolition, essentially.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's kind of the backrooms before the backrooms. It's this liminal space. And then you get this TV movie version that can't really show that. It's like a lot of people going like, have you noticed the sounds are muted here? And it's like, like they were limited. So you take that premise and then you take this premise of like tearing through time, rifts in time. And then you have a character who literally
Just tearing
rips paper.
Yeah.
So like that's all to say that this is like, it's not someone just going like, wouldn't it be cool if I did this? There's like artistic intent behind why to choose the Langoliers specifically to tell this way. And throughout, it's hard. So if people don't know Don Hertzfeld, we should probably explain what this looks like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because it's like, it looks black and white. It looks like it's printed on paper. And so for that reason, everything's a little like Dr. Cat squiggle animation.
Yeah.
And then the artist will do stuff like wrinkle pieces of it or like cut together two shots that weren't originally meant to be together. So
Layer multiple shots in some instances. It starts to collage them together in some shots to highlight effects. Like, this is very Don Hertzfeld, but like when David Morse is pounding on the cabin door, the cockpit door, he's like also tapping the paper itself, so the paper is crinkling inward with his fist knocking, and that's very Don Hertzfeld from what was that called? Rejected. That's the film.
Rejected. I'd say this was probably I don't know when this came out, but this seems
2021. It looks like.
This seems directly inspired by Rejected because if you remember,
course.
Rejected it ends the same way.
The same way. Yeah,
essentially.
it falls apart. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. This also ends with the Langoliers showing up and eating time. So it's like, what better way to show that? And then, of course, what better way to cover up the shitty CGI meatballs by making the Langoliers simply tears in the fabric of the literal paper that's being eaten around it.
They look like little paper roses, but he has them spiraling. They look cool.
Yes.
It's a cool idea.
They look really cool.
Yeah.
So you have this idea of these series of still images making up like the concept of time being eaten up and ripped, and like he'll do things like they'll have like a character like walk away or walk through a frame, but he'll leave some of the freeze frames of the previous frames to kind of do that, like messing with time. These ideas of a series of moments that are like fading.
Yeah, he starts to do that when they are approaching the time stream in the beginning. Like it starts out looking fairly normal, and as the characters get inside the airplane, and what happens is they fly through a rift in time. It's a I think there's a Twilight Zone episode that's like that, and they travel back to like Dinosaur Land.
I want to note that's the other thing is black and white and an hour long. It felt like a Twilight Zone.
Felt like a Twilight Zone, a really good Twilight Zone. Yeah, this is very good. Apparently, you can get this on VHS. I might.
Yeah, I might too.
But yeah, that effect. And once they pass through, it starts looking like this almost stop motion, like you're saying, the Dr. Cat squiggliness, and it's a cool meta way to represent that, because the pages will be crumpled up as it moves to a new scene and stuff. So it's like each frame as we're passing through it is literally being destroyed as we're going through the movie. So the past is being destroyed as we're watching it. It's cool. It's a cool idea. It's a really
and then
cool
there's
idea.
like Mr. Toomey is especially like there's a lot of tearing. There's a lot the part where
his
it's just
eyes,
his, like eyes
he
peeking
puts them
out
everywhere. Like when the British guy looks at his watch and it's Toomey's eye.
Yes,
He pops
where
a
it's
little
like
eye
he's kind of
everywhere.
haunting it.
Yeah.
It
so
really,
good.
it like really paints over like the cheesiness of the miniseries.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
the
watching
melodrama really
sequences-
works for it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, watching sequences where I'm like, I bet this was really flaccid in the miniseries.
Yeah, it's like I
but the
can
music
tell
was
this is
dumb.
dog shit in the miniseries. That's another crucial thing is the music is entirely redone. Obviously, it had to be.
Yeah. And one thing though that like is always good in the miniseries, in my opinion, is the performances. That's the thing, is the filmmaking was always very flaccid in these miniseries, but the actors are, this is what's his name? Bronson Pinchot?
Bronson Pinchot is Mr. Toomey, and he's killing it.
Yeah. David Morse. I love David Morse and
David Morse
everything.
is great in everything. The British guy is cool. Dean Stockwell is killing it as the mystery writer.
Yeah, who like maybe the 3-hour version does make.
I was
going to
say,
I was like, this guy's taking some big swings, like in his guessing.
One thing I wanted to say is I haven't seen the 3-hour miniseries in a long time, so I'm sure I'm not sure, but I'm not sure how much sweetening is being, like how, like we're seeing the highlights, right? So like if we watch the 3-hour versions of these performances, there's probably some weaker scenes here or there, or there might be some weaker scenes here or there, but
For
like
sure.
cutting it down to this lean 60-minute Twilight Zone episode, like Bronson Pinchot is fucking amazing in this.
Oh yeah.
And Dean Stockwell's having a lot of fun as the professor character, basically, who's piecing together the mythos of what's happening to them. And
Yeah,
David
he's
Morse is a
Mr.
David Morse,
Exposition.
like you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
great.
David Morse, he doesn't get like he's always there and he's always he shows up.
He's always
he
there
does
for
his
us.
job.
Yeah.
They don't give him enough. Every time I see him, there's a few times like him as George Washington in John Adams,
right,
he was
yeah.
good. He has a good little like a 3-episode arc in House, where he plays
he's perfect.
a cop.
He's perfect for a house. Oh, of course he's a cop.
Yeah, he plays a shitty cop. The idea is he
Isn't he
plays
the
a
evil
patient.
SWAT guy in The Negotiator? Sorry.
Well, no, he's not evil. That's the twist. It's like the whole time you're like, what? Oh shit! Sorry. Sorry. House. The idea is House has a patient and it's him, and he like humiliates him because David Morse is an asshole to him, and then House finds out he's a cop and he uses his copness to harass House back. And I guess I'll spoil House because it's a funny idea where it keeps escalating until finally, like, a judge is like, why are you spending time on this doctor? Stop it. And then that's it. Like, he just gets, like, scolded for being like, what are you doing, man? Like, he just goes on tilt against House. And the thing is, he's an asshole.
Incredible writing.
But he's not wrong about House. It was a good idea, which is, like, it's what happens when two assholes start fighting. Anyway, he's sort of, in this, he felt like he's like an inevitable pawn, right? Like we say, he disappears at the end. It sounds like in the miniseries he's the only one, and he feels like he exists just to be that. Where he's like, I'm a pilot. I have this like vague duty. I'm an older dude who like I can be sacrificed, which is why it's so surprising that spoilers they super murder a little girl in this.
They do. It's very Stephen King of them.
She has the Shining, I assume.
Yeah, some kind of thing.
She's Daredevil.
Yeah, she can see through Bronson Pinchot's eyes. She gets like, this is a pretty tropey Stephen King thing that when he does these sort of group horror story adventures like this or The Stand or Desperation or there's a few others, there's often a character who is often a child who can sort of like see the secret game plan of the universe for one reason or another. And the blind girl sort of occupies that role in this. And that's fine.
I don't know how much the miniseries explains. This, it's like, it feels like a lot of conveniences. Again, Dean Stockwell is like, this is what's happening. This is what, and I'm like, why would you ever know? He's like, I'm a mystery writer. And I'm like, that doesn't qualify you. Like he knows, he speculates oddly specific things, and then you have psychic blind girl who can fill in the blanks of like, I'm psychic blind, therefore I know these things. And then you have Belky who's like, my dad always told me about these Langoliers, and somehow everybody's kind of right.
Right, that he made up, but I guess he didn't. Like, I guess he fucking knew the secret truth of the universe.
Right, and so it's like, the premise of the Langoliers is really creepy and cool, but like the short game is very stupid, you know, like the character work. But then you take that, and again, you make this moody ass music, you make it this hour-long thing, and you make it really Lynchian, and suddenly it's like, who gives a shit?
Right.
Like, it's not really about picking that shit apart.
No, it's not about those particulars.
No, like, which is weird to say.
It just works. Like it doesn't, like we were saying, the melodrama works for it. I think the conveniences almost work for it because the presentation is so unique and is so part of the experience of the characters as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It just, it feels like less of an obvious sort of weak writing trope when blind girl becomes psychic, because you're like, well, this whole world is like crumpling paper and tears in reality and Balky's eyeball poking out in surprise places, a surprise Balky peeping Balky.
It's sort of like how like theater acting and television acting is supposed to be very big, and like film acting is smaller. And one of the reasons like theater acting is big is because you literally have to be bigger because you're on stage, and it's harder.
Subtlety
to
and
emote.
nuance, it doesn't reach the back.
So you take this type of soap opera acting, and you kind of filter it through this art that almost mutes it visually. It feels like the acting has to be big for this version of it, this medium, as like torn paper and like. I think that makes sense because they're all, I don't know, they're more cartoony. They're like literal, technically cartoon characters.
You're right. Yeah, they're being animated. Yeah. No, it really works. This is such a good idea. And this filmmaker, like you said, it draws directly from the film, the miniseries that Bronson Pinchot sits there ripping paper. Yeah. So like the paper tearing is right into it. So like you get the sense that this filmmaker probably maybe grew up watching this a few times, or at least was familiar enough with it that they made that connection, because the whole project is based on that idea, right? So
why does he tear paper?
It just soothes him. I don't know, it just soothed him.
I
I don't
have to
remember if
assume
they
that-
explain it in the miniseries or not, but it's like it's pretty familiar self-soothing behavior.
I do want to talk about Mr. Toomey as like, so like, this helped me understand the story more too, which is funny.
Right, 'cause it's so focused.
just-
It's like
Yeah,
when
maybe-
we watched the cut down version of The Hobbit.
Right, exactly. Like maybe because I watched it as a kid, but like so you have this idea of a group of people in an airplane, and so you have airplane, these places that are already very, very, very like out of time. Where when you go to an airport, you have to submit yourself kind of to this system that you're out of control. It's about being not in control of your time. And so you have the people on the airplane.
You're also in Twilight. It's neither day nor night in an airport.
Yes, you're in this weird transitional place in general. And then you have Mr. Toomey, and what we learn is he's exactly the wrong person to have to deal with this, because he's a guy who's never in the moment, is kind of the point of him. Where you learn that he's this business ghoul. He, at least in this cut,
Full-blown
he does
business maniac.
Yeah. We don't know why. And again, he's like, and he wants to speak to the manager, is his whole attitude, right? And so it's like they get put into this like ridiculous situation where everybody's vanished except for their false teeth and their hair pieces and
Their
watches.
surgery pins.
Yeah. Which is a cool idea.
Yeah.
And it's so obviously like something has gone wrong. And Mr. Toomey's like,
Take
I'm
me to
gonna
Boston.
sue.
Yeah.
And so he's so incapable of like accepting, not being in control or accepting any change, that he's again immediately at an 11. Like he is a cartoonish man
Yeah.
from the start. But it's sort of just around that idea of like, because the whole thing is, I have a meeting. I have this thing. His dad has always told him, like, you have to keep, the Langoliers eat little
Lazy
kids
little
who
boys. Yeah.
are lazy.
With their dry
So-
chomping teeth.
Yeah, so it's all like around this idea of living in the moment and
Right.
being.
He's running from this trauma, basically.
Yeah.
And now he's being forced to sit in place, and it's the most terrifying thing he's ever experienced because he has to
Yeah.
sit with this.
Which is a great idea
Yeah.
for a character.
Yeah. He goes, boy, does he spiral. I love the scene where he tells the girl about the Langoliers.
Yes.
And he's like rolling closer to her. I'm like, man, David Lynch should be like watching this like, yes,
Yeah.
this is great. Bronson, keep going. Roll twice.
'Cause
We're
he is
gonna
funny.
get you further back, and then you roll further towards the camera before you say the line.
He is very funny too, like obviously.
Yeah.
Because he's known for
He's a
comedy.
sitcom star for many years. Yeah,
So he's doing it in this kind of silly way. They basically a lot of
but
this
in this cut, he's so menacing toward like when he starts to like kill people. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
like, sorry.
No, I can't fucking imagine what the 3-hour version is. Because shortened, it's basically like it's a series of him just kind of slipping away from them and them having to keep grabbing him
Right.
or knocking him
It's like
out.
Bugs Bunny.
You're right, and that is sillier in the shorter version. But watching this, I'm like, what the fuck? Granted, there's some characters like there's like a young lady and a young man who I'm pretty sure never speak in this version.
There's
And
a
I'm
young
like,
lady who barely has any lines. Yeah.
but like, it's sort of like when you watch the that what's his name's recut of the prequels, where they cut out the entirety of the Phantom Menace except for the ending fight, and it's like, yeah, sorry, that is all you need to know. Like, it's sort of that where it's like, oh, this character, sorry, she really doesn't
She really
matter to the
doesn't
plot.
do anything. No.
Yeah. So it's like this brutally honest look where you're like, we need to know
Yeah.
this, and this. Everything in between. But watching this, it's like it still felt at an hour. It still felt like it was like just reaching, overstaying its welcome at the end, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Where I'm like, okay, we've told the
Let's wrap
story
this up.
thoroughly. Yeah. which is wild to think about.
Like when Dean Stockwell says, "Well, there's nothing much we can do now. Let's go get something to eat and try to figure out what to do next." Like I almost had oh, you serious? Like,
Yeah.
let's move. Let's keep it moving. What else is there to do? I'm glad they did because we get a bunch of great stuff in between now and then. But
And it's because there's all these moments like when they eat the food. Sorry, it was really funny, the scene when they eat the food and they're like, I'm so thirsty and hungry. And he drinks the beer and spits it out. He's like, it's flat. And I'm like, you're thirsty though, right? Like, drink the beers. Like, they're like, ew, we can't eat this, tasteless. But
yeah,
it's like these quick scenes like that where they just very quickly go like, oh, the food's tasteless and flat. Oh, it's because we're out of time. Like, they explain things really quickly and really like over the top, where again, I'm like, there's like, I didn't feel like anything was lost.
No.
So it's just like, yeah, what the like these really quick, punchy scenes of like, okay, it's because of this, this, and this. Move on. Okay, we have to do this. Okay, we have to get back on the plane and go back. Like, it's just so simple. I'm gonna have to watch the miniseries now.
Yeah,
because
we're
I'm
gonna
like,
have to
what
do
the
it.
Fuck.
I'm so curious now.
Yeah. Like the little dweeb. I bet he has a bigger role. You know, the dweeb.
He still does more than like the woman just kind of becomes mom to blind girl. Yeah. That's really all she does.
Well, no, I wasn't even thinking of her. There's another lady.
Yeah, the other
A
young
younger.
lady doesn't do anything. She gets held
Yeah.
hostage briefly by Bronson Pinchot.
And then I think there's a guy and a dweeb.
There's the
Or
dweeb.
is
He comes up with the idea that's like, look, our matches work again when we bring them on our airplane.
Yeah.
Because in our plane, it's still the present.
And like that scene. So for example, that scene, he like goes like, look, and lights the match to the airport. And he's like, come with me. And he brings them on the airplane all the way to the airplane. I guess not saying anything to demonstrate the matches again. And that's a scene where I'm like, I got it already. You don't even have to show them on the airplane demonstrating it. So it's like, what the fuck did the miniseries do? But yeah, that dude who
Really
who gets
stretch that
shot,
out.
But the bullets are
But
out
it doesn't
of time.
work, right? Because the gun doesn't quite fire.
And then there's Australian British man. Did we establish
He doesn't really do much either. He just kind of bullies
He's the
Bronson
muscle.
Pinchot. Yeah, that's really all he does. There's
The little
There's
girl-
Mr. Gaffney who just gets stabbed.
Oh yeah, that's a shame. That's a real shame.
Poor Mr. Gaffney.
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling of like I'm guessing they probably spent a lot more time with these people. I'm guessing there was like, knowing Stephen King, there's probably like elaborate flashbacks of
Yeah, more
like
character
their
stuff
backstories.
about who
I
they
don't-
are and things like that. And so it's like, oh no, they died. But yeah, you're right. When you distill it down just to like the story beats and like what the character's function was in the story, you're like, oh, a lot of you didn't matter.
No, the little girl. Nothing against this actress because she went on to be in stuff, but I get the sense that the little girl was not great in
Well,
this.
Kids are tough. Like
Kids are tough.
no kid is great.
She's
No kid is
also
a great
playing-
actor.
She's playing a magic blind girl. She's
Yeah,
Daredevil,
but-
as we say. She hears the Langoliers like before everybody else.
Her and Bronson are the only two who can hear him.
Yeah, and then he fucking stabs. He stabs her, right?
Yeah, in the fucking chest, man.
And he's like, it's not a little girl, and that's like where it's like there was probably more of an explanation on that, but you don't need it. Where it's like, okay, his dead dad's like haunting him, and then she fucking baits his ass.
Yeah, she
she's
feeds
just
him
like,
to the Langoliers.
yeah, it's just ice cold. She's like, we need you, Mr. Toomey. You're helpful. And I was like, oh, how is he going to help? And it's like, oh, he's just going to buy them 30
You know how
seconds.
he's going to help. Yeah, he buys him more than 30 seconds. He buys him a
Talking
couple
to
minutes.
Yeah. Fantasizing about Stephen King, his boss.
His boss, Stephen King, yeah. Finally telling off my boss.
Yeah, so the idea is he was a... So
I
we
guess in a
didn't- I
way
don't know if
that's
we
true,
mentioned this.
metaphysical sense.
He tanks the company on purpose because
Yeah.
it's the only way he can escape.
He's
His life.
he's imploding his life, yeah, because he's only ever run from his dad, so he's trying to destroy himself.
Right. Yeah, it's the idea of like he can't stop, so the only thing he can do is like derail the train. Essentially,
Yeah.
is like he has to make himself stop.
He's deeply unwell.
I think the little girl is kind of the anti-him, right? Where she's blind, she hears things, and she seems very in the moment. Again, it's like she's the one who notices that the world itself is unusual.
She's very present because she has to be more so than other people.
And when she dies, they do a cool thing where they keep turning pages.
That was cool.
Because the implication is like everything is about tearing. Everything is like violent. They're torn out of this place. She's the only person who essentially like drifts away. Mm-hmm. It's a cool way of doing that.
I think she dies in the plane, so that's like in the present.
Yeah, the idea is so when she dies, it's like this. They do this thing where it's like someone turning the pages, and it slowly gets whiter and whiter until she's gone. So you mentioned that the original ending,
everybody lives except for Brian, the pilot, David Morse. I'm pretty sure.
And the rule is that you have to be asleep?
Yeah, I don't remember why. They just were.
Okay. Yeah, that was nonsense. Yeah, you were saying you didn't like the ending as much, and I will say the ending of this, I didn't know if it was this cut or the ending, where I was like, none of this really made sense to me. So for example, I was like, shouldn't they not be asleep? Because, okay, so what happened to so they flew through a rift, right? And everybody who was awake vanished.
Yeah.
I interpreted that originally as everybody who was awake didn't die. They simply kept moving through time, and these people didn't. They were stuck, and for whatever reason, it was because they were asleep. Because they're in this place that's out of time, right?
Yes.
But I guess the idea is they time traveled 15 minutes into the past through this.
Yeah, I think those people are gone. Because, like, we see their watches and surgery pins and shit.
See, the way I interpret it is that anything non-organic doesn't move on. Because when they land, there's no birds either. I interpret it as the physical, like, organic world has moved on from this moment.
I can't remember.
So we're just seeing, like, the skeletal remains of a moment in time. You know what I mean?
I think that's correct. I cannot remember if in the miniseries, when they fly back through the rift, if the rest of the passengers return. I don't remember whether that happens.
Yeah, this kept it ambiguous.
Well, this one, it makes it seem like everybody disappeared and the plane's just going to fall out of the sky.
Right, yes, they did. That doesn't make sense, but I don't know what the miniseries did that made sense. Because it was like, they're about to fly back through the rift. And then he's like, no, we were asleep. We have to turn back. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, wasn't being asleep the thing that was wrong last time? Like, don't you want to be awake this time? Because when you were asleep, the rift didn't work. Yeah, I
now I don't remember.
I remember
maybe the rules are just silly in the story, but I do remember everybody has to be asleep. That's why they didn't disappear.
Right.
So in order for them to go back through, they all needed to be asleep. So they lower the oxygen or something in the cabin, and everybody passes out except for the pilot.
And it feels arbitrary, I guess. That's like you have to be asleep to go through the rift. And then what is the rift and what? Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter ultimately. Yeah. Like, I guess I think there's like a neater idea where it's simply someone who goes back in time to test a time machine and goes like, I'll go back in time 15 minutes and finds out that, like, if you go back in time, it's what Dean Stockwell says at one point, where he simply says like, oh, all time travel fiction is wrong. Like, if you go back in time,
there's nothing to go
back to. I always like the premise that, like, I think we talked about it at Cracked. Going back in time, one of the bigger problems is the Earth would be physically in a different location in space. So like if you went back in time and was like, I'm going back to this space 100 years ago, you'd probably just be floating in space because the Earth would not be physically where it is at that moment, which I really like that idea.
That is a funny idea.
Yeah, because we're always moving. And it's like time travel doesn't know. A time machine doesn't know you mean on Earth. That's not the rule. It's you're fucking with time.
Well,
the
maybe
DeLorean
not your
would
time
just
machine.
be floating in space. Yeah, that's true.
You got to get a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be nonsense, which again is even more reason why this version is better.
Yeah, I still don't. The ending kind of just. It feels like it's sort of rushing to get through the rest of it, which is weird because it's just an hour long. So I'm sure you could have cut. I don't know. It seems to sort of really make the story kind of pointless. Well, it's like, well, then what force was guiding the blind girl? What was the point of any of that? Like,
Right? Why was she like this? Is the
why
only
was
way
she?
we
Yeah,
gotta go?
why? Yeah. What
Oh,
was
well,
the
she
point
does
of any
die.
and all that stuff? Sure, but like,
So, like, if she was still alive, maybe she'd have a little
what
more.
was the? Yeah, what force was guiding her to save the group? Like,
Right.
how did she? I don't know. It just really made. It
I
felt like
guess-
somebody bailing out.
I know what you mean. I thought of it as more ambiguous in the sense that I was like, maybe they did get back. Because
I
again,
guess,
in my
yeah,
mind,
maybe.
I was like, Dean Stockwell's wrong. Like, he's like, we need to be asleep. And I'm like, no, you don't. That was the problem in the first place, being asleep. That's how I thought of it. So I was like, because Dean Stockwell, again, his character is like, this is my guess. This is what I think. And I'm like, you don't know shit, man. You are completely. And he even says at one point, like, what if I was wrong? So I interpret it more as like ambiguous versus, oh, they all died. Because I didn't think the people at the beginning died anyway. So I get what you're saying. But for what it is, and the fact that it's only an hour long, I'm like, well, didn't waste that much of my time,
Yeah.
Or the question of what's the point of it, where I'm like, well, you think of it as a Twilight Zone episode, that's the point of it, right? Enough Twilight Zone episodes end with like, a dark ending.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's not.
It's a little bit different when when you're leaning on a plot contrivance or like I guess it is a contrivance. But when you're leaning on something like that, where it's the blind girl just knows because she's blind and has powers.
Yes, that makes
It's like, well, what's giving her the powers? What's guiding her? And it's like not explaining that. And also we have the dark ending that sort of throws it all out. It's a little, it's weird.
Yeah, more Twilight Zone to me, but I would argue that Twilight Zone also functions in this structural, like a basic moral tale, almost like a joke, where it's like there's a setup, middle, and a twist. Mm-hmm. And like this doesn't have that like a Twilight Zone would. It's
not every
more
episode is like that, to be clear, but there. I mean, like any
like a
TV
Twilight
show,
Zone,
of
but
course, yeah. A lot of them. That's the basic format for sure. Like any show, there were episodes that break the format, but yeah, you nailed it.
But yeah, that ending and bringing it down to an hour, I can see why it feels like a little, like it has less of a shape now, I guess, the story, like a complete form where you're like, again, like you said, like what was the point of that? Or like it bails out, which is true. Like I guess that's the only point where you could argue that it felt like they were cutting for time. Where they were like, we just need to end this. So what if they all just vanish and it ends?
Yeah, what if everybody dies?
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't want to print anymore.
Yeah. I have gone through so much ink.
So much fucking ink. Kinkos will not let me in.
Same budget as Avatar for this. Same budget, just ink. Just all ink.
Rivers of ink.
But yeah,
like
this
a
was
mighty
great.
literary vampire, I drained it.
I don't know what to call this. Like our buddies at the Small Beans have a Kings of Kings podcast, and I think they might want to cover this because, like,
It is an
in my mind,
adaptation of
it's
the
like-
Langoliers.
it is, and it is different. I would argue it's different than a fan recut. like I would argue this is like a found footage adaptation of the Langoliers that brings something to the story.
It does.
That the miniseries didn't.
It does, yeah. And truly, I mean, it has its own completely unique ending.
Yeah.
That is very ambiguous.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I remember. I'm still kind of sitting with it. I mean,
Yeah, same.
I really enjoyed this. What a weird project.
Yeah. It came
To sit
together
there with the Langoliers of all things.
I know. That's the thing is like when you hear it on paper, you go like, why would you do that? Like that sounds like a joke. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I made I printed out the Langoliers.
It's like a big mouth joke, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and you're like, that's the most pretentious thing I've ever heard. Then you watch it and you go, oh my God, that's perfect.
this rules, yeah.
It's a perfect idea for this. And that's, I think, why I like when that clicked in my mind, I was really on board. It's like, this isn't just artsy for the sake of being artsy. This is like what the Langoliers should have looked like as an adaptation.
It's cool. It's a
It's
cool
cool.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah, people check it out. I
For
think
sure.
what did we watch it on? I want to say Vimeo, but that's not what it's
Vimeo.
called. Vimeo.
Venmo.
Venmo will start making movies. Just you wait. They'll
I'm
quit
sure.
it out.
Yeah. You remember that? You were like 7 years ago when everybody had to have content.
Yeah, I do. If you just Google the Timekeepers of Eternity, which is a line said in the movie, by the way.
Yes, Dean Stockwell says it.
Right, which is a better name, I would argue, because for no other reason. Okay, I get why it's called the Langoliers.
Mm-hmm.
Although the problem with the Langoliers is I
What
don't
is that?
anymore. But did you ever have that period where you're like, wait, is that the one with the aliens? No, that's the Tommy
Knockers, yeah.
Yeah. Like they're both like bullshit. Stephen King loves this shit, right? Where it's like The Shining. And it's like, it's just a thing my grandmother said, you know? It's all to say that the Langoliers is not really what these things are. They are the Timekeepers of Eternity is a more apt description for what the creatures are.
Timekeepers of Eternity also, to keep hammering the Twilight Zone point, sounds like the title of a Twilight Zone episode.
It does. It really does.
Rod Serling loved his poetic-ass titles.
Yeah. If you Google it, that name, you'll immediately get the Vimeo link to it and one of them YouTubes. But you can also watch it and then support it. It's very well reviewed, by the way. Like,
Yeah, it's not just us clowns.
no.
People agree.
But I do have that feeling of like, oh yeah, I should buy this somehow. It's I'm sure there's a way to give this person money.
Apparently there's a VHS, and a
Yeah.
VHS of this would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a website where you can just buy a VHS of it. So that's cool.
Anyway, check this
Not
out.
that I have a VCR, but it'd be cool to hold.
Yeah, just to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I have a VCR, but,
Yeah, when do you pop in the
humble
tape?
brag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like 4 VHSs, I think, still intact.
I have a few VHSs, but I don't have a VCR. Someone send me a VCR. All right, I think we're done
I
here,
think we're
right?
done. Yeah, we can stop talking about this.
Dr. Slaphammer, thank you.
Thank you so
this
much.
Was a delight.
Yeah,
I love it when
what
this
What a
happens.
weird movie. Yeah,
I know. It's funny is I consider myself a movie nerd, but not nearly as much as some of you motherfuckers out there.
Oh, goodness,
And it's
no.
just it's so nice to have people to like send us this sort of stuff and be like, by the way, you should check out this.
here's the
It's a delight.
Here's one of the weirdest pitches you've ever heard, but it's really good.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Slaphammer,
Thank you,
who
yes.
I assume is a real doctor.
Of slapping hammers.
Yes. Yeah, the dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have this is through our Patreon. So we have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there, you could do custom We Just Watched like this. That's a tier. But just for $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder's a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, our supernatural podcast, Himboos, which is about those, the glorious Winchester boys.
So gorgeous.
I know what they do in this situation. They would die. They could not handle it. This is not one they can handle, is what I'm saying. They would try to shoot.
I'm telling you, Sammy, I'm going to shoot those things.
Yeah, and then they would get eaten, and that would be that.
Dean would not have given a fig about that beer being flat.
No.
Beer's
flat.
flat.
No, he would have chugged it. He'd be like, I drink flat beer from my trunk all the time.
Yeah. Still good.
We also watch movies every Friday night with our patrons. We've watched a Stephen King miniseries before,
I
right?
think we've watched The Langoliers. Now that I
Maybe.
think about it.
I don't think I've seen this since I was a kid, though.
I don't know.
I think.
We definitely have watched it. We should watch the Tommyknockers.
I was meant to say the Tommyknockers. I remember
Jimmy Smits flies a UFO with his brain.
I was going to say, I remember that really sucking, and then you confirmed it right there.
Oh, it fucking sucks. It's breathtaking. I'm sure they've covered it on Kings of King.
They must have. Anyway, check out our Patreon.
We also have a store. Head over to gameplayunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork by cool original artists like Michael Vincent Bramley, Starlene Hodge, Justin Brown, and others. So check that out. Please rate and review our podcasts wherever you're listening. And also check out our other show, Badical, Badical, also wherever you're listening.
Do it. What is the best miniseries from Stephen King? I guess it's It because of Tim Curry.
It's probably it or The Stand.
Yeah, because The Stand.
The Stand is legit. It's legit pretty decent.
Yeah. Again, it all kind of rests on performance. It just seems like fucking Tim Curry single-handedly made it.
I mean, the miniseries around him isn't great, but his performance really sells. That's an interesting question. I'll have to sit and think, because I feel like I'm forgetting about like a huge one. Let's sit and think about that, Dave.
Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew, or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at Artness by JustinBrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at StarleneArts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.